So, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nalini Saligram, and I am the founder and CEO of Arogya World. We are a global health nonprofit that does diabetes prevention programs at the population level in India. This series of webinars we started um, in May to respond to the COVID crisis. It's called Emerge Stronger from COVID. And we wanted very much to teach people about underlying non-communicable diseases and the risk, and then what we can do practically to prepare ourselves. So healthy living is at the core of all our programming and messaging at Arogya World. And so we wanted very much to promote that. So we've had a series of webinars on obesity and diabetes and mental health, and we have come to realize that people with underlying non-communicable diseases and obesity really are at higher risk for the negative outcomes from COVID. So preventing these diseases has become even more urgent times. So we're really looking forward to this session, which will give us practical tips to healthy cooking, and from a very interesting and for us, rare a set of speakers, the owner of a famous restaurant in San Francisco, August 15, and the executive chef there, Chef Manish Tyagi. So Hetal Shah in conversation with Manish Tyagi. They both have really fascinating backgrounds. Hetal spent her childhood in Bangalore, where I'm from, and she says she still remembers her mother's most amazing home-cooked vegetarian lunches that she sent to school every day. Hetal, I can taste that lunch just from the way you've described it. She came to the US in 2002 to study journalism at the University of Georgia, then moved on to New York, and ultimately found her way at Google as an ad executive in 2010. At Google, she led a mobile creative team and worked across sales, marketing, and product. She and her husband also opened Red Hot Chili Pepper, a Chinese Indian restaurant. Given their love for food, this was a natural step. And in 2016, her entrepreneurial itch was too strong to ignore, and she decided it was time to move on from Google. Later that year, August 15 was born. The restaurant's focus has been to break away from the stereotypical curry. They specialize in seasonal offerings and proudly serve it with a touch of nostalgia. And Chef Manish Tyagi is from Dehradun and has in a beautiful hill station in the north of India. And some of his fondest childhood memories are from the aroma of spices in his mother's kitchen. At August 15, he shares his childhood memories of home-cooked meals and festival fare with a fresh audience. Manish was previously the opening chef at Washington, D.C.'s famous Rasika, West End. He also has extensive hospitality management experience, having worked in the biggest names, the Oberoi Hotel, the Taj, Rambagh Palace, etc., all the while developing a thorough understanding of regional cuisine that he brings to the restaurant today. So we are really, really looking forward to this session. Hetal Shah will engage in conversation with Chef Manish on Indian spices and their health significance, and also some elements of healthy cooking, especially in these days of the COVID times. And also then Chef Manish demonstrate a healthy recipe, some tandoori kebabs. Both vegetarian and non-vegetarian options. He'll explain to us how to make the recipe work. So Hetal and Manish, over to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Nalini, and nice to meet everyone. The timing for this conversation is really apt. So, as Nalini mentioned, that because of sort of the pandemic and the times we live in, there's just so much buzz around eating better and living a healthy lifestyle to boost immunity these days. And, Chef Manish and I would like to take the opportunity to just share our thoughts and approach to eating healthy at home and healthy-ish at restaurants, and also share some of our personal insights on our relationship with food. And the goal always is to just like eat right and help like build the immune system, or build our immunity so that we can avoid falling sick. But the truth is that you can have an amazing immunity and still fall sick. But the beauty is that if you do have a strong immune system, you will recover quickly without heavy dependence on medication, antibiotics, and other form of treatments, which all have like long-term side effects on our body. And in fact, it is good to fall sick, because each time you fall sick, your immunity gets stronger and stronger. And so I've been reading up a lot around just like how to build a strong immunity. I have like two little kids who I'm trying to just train at a young age to be like a lot more aware of like the food that they eat and the lifestyle that we live as a family. And one really great resource that I came across is this book written by this really popular nutritionist slash life coach in India called Luke Coutinho. And I'll share, he's published a free book on the immunity lifestyle pill with Shilpa Shetty, who's like the Bollywood actress. And so in that book they talk about there are four pillars for lifestyle for super strong immunity, which are like balanced nutrition, exercise, sleep, and emotional wellness. And what Manish and I want to do today is just focus on like the nutrition bit and focus on spices and just demystifying some of the medicinal value, or sort of our approach to how we incorporate some of these ingredients in our cooking, and also like the concept that we have at August 1-5. So with that being said, Manish, let's kick off this conversation. So why don't we discuss some of the spices that you're going to be using in your chicken kebab recipe, and also some of the spices that are all part of like the immunity buzzword. So let's talk about ginger. And do you want to share some some of your insights on just like even ginger, which I guess traditionally is not thought of as a spice, but the way we use ginger in our dishes, and also how like a lot of the ingredients that we use are sort of in its natural form. So do you want to share your thoughts on ginger?
Oh yeah, definitely. So first of all, thank you very much, guys. Joining us and showing your interest in knowing, you know, like I personally feel, so blessed to grow up and born in a country which given so much to the world. Everything we use in our cuisine, in Indian cuisine, having a meaning towards it. We just need to understand that. So same thing is with ginger. Ginger, so widely used in our homes, not only when our moms cook food, but you must have kind of experienced it whenever you kind of having common cold or flu. Mom is giving kind of a, juice of that, or mixing it with honey and some black pepper to boost your immunity and to reduce the symptoms of that common cold and all. So it's basically having so many goodness in it. I would say it's a superfood, which kind of clears our itchy throat, and fights inflammation. And the volatile oils in ginger actually, they are very similar to NSAIDs, the non-steroid inflammatory, anti-inflammatory drugs we buy over the counter. So another thing which I want to mention here, our body is a very smart mechanism. When we try to give it something, which is not known by our body, it kind of rejects it. So we take medicines, we tend to take medicines nowadays, but if you see our history, our culture, Ayurveda tells us like your body having its own healing power, and the food we eat can be only used just to stimulate your appetite, or it can work as a medicine also. So ginger is comes in similar category. It enhance the flavor of your food, it kind of make it more flavorful, and at the same time it kind of healing you from certain symptoms, common cold, or if you're feeling nausea in the morning, or morning sickness, it helps in that as well. So so many good properties in it. So if you're consuming it on a daily basis, you might don't need to go for any over the counter drugs for common cold, nausea, or morning sickness.
And also, I mean, I think so for me, like after, I decided to partner with Chef Manish, and we opened August 1-5, and, we just like my husband and I, we fell in love with his flavors at a previous restaurant that he used to work at. And just like then sort of like, looking under the hood and seeing the way he was using a lot of these ingredients, and really, looking at like some of the recipes closely, I realized that, Chef Manish, and like he does a great job of just using a lot of like natural or ingredients in its like fresh and like natural form, versus like a lot of just like spices, or I mean powdered spices, or just like spice blends or things like that, to just give it like this real simple flavor, but also just that there's a lot of like complexity in his dishes. But I think what I'm trying to say is just like his recipes are so simple, and that and so flavorful, just because like the ingredients are really simple. So Manish, like what about turmeric? What are your thoughts on turmeric? And like how do
All
you
right.
use like turmeric in its different form at the restaurant? So I have started drinking like lemon water every morning, and I add turmeric to that, again just to help build like that immune system, and then also to act like and as an antioxidant. And then additionally what I do is I take I buy like fresh turmeric roots from like Whole Foods, Safeway, or any grocery store, and then I peel it, like I slice it, and I soak it in lemon juice, and like use that like as a pickle or a garnish for salad. So I want to your thoughts on turmeric that's just so buzzy, and how we use turmeric, and what do you think of turmeric as a
I
spice?
guess turmeric has taken the whole world, like praising it, like by knowing as much people started knowing about this particular herb. It is kind of the guru of all the herbs and spices at the moment. It's having so many properties which kind of help a normal human being on a day-to-day basis, and the versatility of its use. You can use it in food, you can apply it on your skin, you can apply it on in the fresh wounds. So it's having so many properties, like there is a thing which called curcumin, curcumin, which is actually the property which actually help us in kind of avoiding all the anti-inflammatory issues we having in our body, to detox our body from it kind of helps in building the immunity, helps our brain to work properly, function well basically, and promotes our digestion. If somebody having a digestive issues, which is kind of very common nowadays, and it decreases your antacid influx in your body. It lower down that issues, bolsters the immune system, which is kind of very important in this COVID time. So if you consuming, and even there is a recent I want to quote it, but I could not get the exact that research. Recently, they, like last week, they published. They took almost like 70 patients who having this diabetes and high blood pressure issues. They given them a certain dose of turmeric on a daily basis, and they had 70 other patients, those they were giving the traditional medicines they used to give them, and they find that their body started improving itself, and the need of the medicines they were on kind of reduced. So you can see how your body reacts when you give a natural kind of substance to it, which is known to the body, and it start reacting again. So this is kind of a very good example how we can, treat well our body. Like we talk about doing a lot of exercise and, kind of eat on time. But what we intake in our body, that's the most important thing, I guess. If we eating right, then all these things are kind of, helping, kind of support systems. Actually, if you exercise it kind of helps you in toning your body. But if you want to glow your body, then you have to take care it from inside as well as from outside.
Hi,
Yes,
Hetal. Can anyone hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
It's Nina Masi.
Hi, Nina Masi. That is my aunt.
Okay, but my video is not turning on. It says it's been disabled.
Lauren, can we enable everybody's video?
Well, I think it was turned off. It was on when I came in, but then I stepped away for a minute and it's been turned off.
Just asked you to start your video.
Nina
You
Singh.
should see
Yeah.
you should see a button pop up on your screen to do that.
Yeah. It says it's been disabled.
If video is off, it's okay. If you have a question, you can ask it in the chat box. But
Okay.
let's
Okay.
progress this discussion.
Okay.
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 Back to you, Hetal.
Yeah. Host can share this. Yeah. No, it's not coming on. Okay.
Okay. So we'll just, I want to quickly get to the demo. So, so just like moving, I mean, Manish, you shared great insights, and I think as an Indian and as someone who cooks a lot of Indian food at home, it's really amazing to, now find turmeric in like pretty much every single grocery store, and a lot of like the spices that we use at home, and even like fresh turmeric is easily available. So it's great to see that turmeric has become so mainstream. So in so then sort of moving on, Manish, I know that you and I talk a lot about just like the use of like other spices, and for the kebab itself, I think we talked about like coriander and black salt. So do you want to talk a little bit about coriander and black salt, and then we can share some tips and trends and just other insights into into the restaurant world and like menus, etc.
So coriander is another fascinating herb and one of my favorites. Actually, you you use every part of this herb. You use the leaves of it, you leave use the stem of it, you use the seeds of it, and it's having different properties again. If you see it from Ayurveda lenses, the leaves having a cold effect on your body. So it is very good kind of a herb in summers to fight from the heat stroke. And if the lady is having problem of acne and all on their faces, this is another kind of work as a detox. If you take a shot of that, just adding some ginger and a little bit of turmeric to it, it's kind of work as a detox. And then in food, it's kind of do wonders. If you just adding while you finish your dal tadka or any fresh veggies you cook, you just add it in the end, and then it changes the flavor profile completely, taking it to totally different level. And the seeds having a heating effect on our body. That's why we use it extensively in our garam masala as well. It's one of the main ingredients of our garam masala. So that properties actually help in keeping your body warm. So that's one of the reasons we kind of use these spices in our home as well, day-to-day cooking, so that it gives enough warmness to our body. Warmness to our body is not only important to fight from cold. It is important to kill the bacteria or any sort of disease we having in our body. That's why we get fever. So fever is not something to scare until it reaches to 104 degrees. this is a body's mechanism to eliminate all those bacteria or any disease which is kind of trying to multiply in our body. I know I'm sounding here more like a doctor. I'm not actually. So this is actually these herbs actually help in. That's why in olden times they used to give, we used to call that kada. So kada is actually a concoction of those herbs which kind of help body to increase the internal temperature to eliminate all these diseases, rather than having any medicine and suppressing it, and you feeling, oh, I'm good now, I just had a cold medicine or a flu medicine, now I'm not having fever. So no, it's actually try to eliminate it from the root. So coriander is that kind of a herb, and you can use it by roasting and adding making a powder of it, or using it as a tampering, just heat some oil and add to it, like you add cumin and splatter it, and it changes the flavor of your food. And
So,
I want to talk about now. Sorry, Hetal, you saying
oh
something?
no, we have a quick question, Manish. So
Mhm.
the question is, do you have any thoughts on, the Himalayan pink salt, which is like the new trendy salt? So do you, want to share your insights on just like
Okay,
salt? Because
so
that's such a highly debated like topic as well.
yeah, so Himalayan pink salt, I'm not saying it is not having that great of a properties than our black salt, but it is more like kind of I would say black salt need to get the platform what Himalayan pink salt having at the moment. So it's better than the regular salt we use or a sea salt we use. Salt is like not only to enhance the flavor profile of the food, it is a very important kind of spice to help our body to retain the water content, uh, to kind of avoid any dehydration. So this is one of the work of salt in our body. But excess salt is actually a kind of problem in high blood pressure and all, and gives us headache or kind of you know make us blotting and all. So pink salt having less of sulfur in it, which is a cause of this all issues what we facing having excessive use of salt. uh, but it is not having the properties what black salt having. Black salt improves the digestion, like you said in the beginning that you started using warm water with lemon juice in it, and helps you. So if you just adding a pinch of black salt in that, it's going to help you. First of all, it's going to help you in your digestive system, and second thing, it's going to increase the bile production in your guts, which is very important to make your digestion quick, like
Got it.
efficient, I would say. Now, rather than quick, I would say efficient. It's having both the properties of laghu and ushna. Laghu is basically when you eat something, and the body processes to digest it in a proper form, using it optimally. So to use it in optimum way, the body needs some enzymes, to process it. So black salt increase the quantities of those enzymes, like we use nowadays probiotic and all.
Got it.
So this
So
is this is natural stuff.
yeah, no, I mean, I think that's really great insight. And I think that the book that I shared in the chat, and I'll resend that to everybody. So the Magic Immunity Pill. So that book talks a lot about the different, health benefits of like the different oils, the salts and everything. And this is like a free book that they published in India. And I, find it just fascinating sort of, learning more about all of the different salts and the different oils and the different nuts and what has like high iron, zinc, etc. So I would highly recommend reading to that. And so because we have I think a little less than 30 minutes left, or around 30 minutes left. Manish, do you want to start setting up your station to do the demo? And while he
Oh
does
yeah.
that, I'm actually going to share some of the consumer trends that we're seeing at the restaurant, and also, you know, give you guys like sort of a cheat sheet on how to order healthy-ish at, you know, a restaurant, and how I sort of look at restaurant menus differently. So the trends, let's start with trends. So the trends that we're seeing at, you know, our restaurant, August 1-5 in San Francisco, and I'm starting to now see, you know, a lot of other restaurateurs and chefs also adapt this across the board. So I'm a vegetarian, and, you know, I've always been a vegetarian. I've never tried any, you know, meat. My husband eats everything. My kids eat everything. And so earlier, like, you know, when we would go to restaurants across the US and even in San Francisco, I would find like, you know, one vegetarian dish or maybe two. But now there's a lot of, you know, a lot of diners are asking for more vegetarian and vegan dishes. So we're starting to see like, you know, other restaurants that aren't necessarily, you know, Asian, because I think within like sort of the Asian food umbrella, there is a lot of like, you know, vegetarian food. So we've always had a lot of vegetarian choices. And I would say like around 30 to 40% of our menu, which keeps changing, is vegetarian and vegetable focused. So not only paneer, not only potato. I think, you know, we take great pride in, you know, showcasing other vegetables as well, you know, to promote like a healthier lifestyle. And then we also have folks that are asking for, you know, more fish and, you know, other like seafood options, because there are a lot of pescatarians, people who don't, you know, a lot of folks, including my husband, like, you know, he doesn't eat as much red meat anymore. And so that is something that, you know, we now actively like, you know, keep in mind when we're coming up with a new menu, or when we change like, you know, the menu, which is like every season. And so the other shift that we've seen is that, and this probably, you know, depends from cities to city. So in San Francisco, we see a lot of diners eat early. And so not only, you know, a specific like demographic or like, you know, an older diner base, we also see like, you know, young folks that want to come in early and eat early. And just because, you know, there's enough of a window after you eat dinner for your food to digest, and, you know, before bedtime. And so the other thing that what we've done at our restaurant is like, we focus, a lot of our portions are small, and that's, you know, sort of done on purpose. So we focus on like, you know, our, you know, quality ingredients. And, you know, we focus on like smaller plates that, you know, you can try, where you can, you know, come in and try like a lot of food, like family style, and try like, you know, multiple dishes. And also, you know, you have room to try like our main entrees, and then also dessert. And so we're using like a lot of, and I talked about like, you know, organic and sustainable ingredients that we source, but we also very consciously keep in mind like the natural form of sweeteners that we're using in our food across the board, whether that's, you know, as part of like, you know, our actual like, you know, food, but a small plate, an entree, or like dessert. So we use a lot of like, you know, jaggery, yogurt, coconut milk, etc., versus, you know, cream, and use of spices such as like, you know, fennel, cardamom, to promote digestion, even like for our desserts. And so, and yeah, so when I like now look at, and I think Nalini posed this question that, you know, when you go to a restaurant, what are sort of like the things, you know, you need to like watch out for? And so we've tried to balance out our menu by having like, there's like, you know, some fried items, but there's also a lot of like just dishes that aren't, you know, fried, and where we're using like, you know, in its raw form. So we do salads, we do our versions of ceviche. So there's like, you know, chaat dishes that again we use, you know, different ingredients. So for example, Manish, you know, it has like a sunchoke chaat. And so there's nothing fried in the chaat, like no other like, you know, chickpea, vermicelli, or like, you know, the save that we call it, that we add on. Like a lot of the chaat elements come from like, you know, vegetables, or come from, you know, other ingredients. And so I feel, yeah, to answer like Nalini's question, I think it's always sort of good to order, a balanced meal. So you order like, yeah, maybe a fried item or two, but then, there's like a salad or other dishes that aren't necessarily, don't necessarily have a lot of fat. And then, we do a lot of, proteins that are just showcased differently. So we do like a, good piece of fish. So like a sea bass or a black cod with like light sauce. So none of our dishes are like doused in sauce, but just being able to identify some of like those dishes and really, try and eat a balanced meal. And we sort of take a similar approach to our cocktails too. And we also have like, mocktails on our menu. And so, a lot of folks don't necessarily drink alcohol, but we want to make sure that they're, part of like this social dining experience. And so we do have like non-alcoholic drinks. And I think that's a trend that you see, that we're seeing across the board now, and which is great, because I feel that, yeah, it's like I'm trying to drink less alcohol to, again, help build my immune system. And I think it's nice to sometimes like, maybe do like one cocktail or a glass of wine and then switch to a mocktail. So I think those are some of our sort of tips. And Manish, I don't know if you want to add to that, or if we should just jump right into, your most
Yeah. So
demo.
when we talking too much about healthy eating and talking about how we can increase our immunity and all, I would like to suggest one thing here. Go online and look at the Ayurveda, this body type chart. So it's kind of a questionnaire. You're gonna get certain websites are there which providing you that questionnaire to understand what kind of a body type you are. So that is based on what you like, what you don't like, what is the thickness or thinness of your hairs, what kind of skin you're having dry skin or you're having oily skin. That that whole questionnaire gonna give you kind of an idea in what body type you fits in, what foods works for you, what food don't work for you. So basically, there are three things. There's a vata, pitta, and kapha. Vat is basically vayu, so the air properties in our body. Then pitta is basically the fire, and the kapha is basically the earth. So if these three things are balanced, eat whatever you want to eat. Even if you're gonna eat any like pure processed meal, that's not gonna hurt you that bad. But let's say if your these three things are not balanced, even if you try to maintain a healthy eating pattern for 5 days a week, and sixth day, let's say you just try to eat a cheat meal, it's not going to help you. That need to balance. And these three things help in a balance of your mood, your efficiency. So if these are balanced, you feel you are more energetic, you are more agile, you can do more stuff and you are happy, you're not feeling that anxiety in you. If these are not balanced, then you're going to feel all sort of these things. So go there and check that. Hetal mentioned a very nice book about healthy eating. I would suggest one more name here. His name is Bishwajit Roy Chaudhary. He's from Calcutta, and he's doing so much, to improve people's perception about food. He tells that the more natural you're gonna eat, the more healthier you're gonna be. So it's basically a lifestyle. It's basically a routine which you have to follow. So it's not like you eating it like a medicine. You kind of you have to wear it as a personality. If you using in that fashion, you're gonna see a lot of changes in your body, and you don't need to eat medicine after that, which is very difficult though, because our tongue is a big problem, because we want to try all sort of tastier food, and tastier food not are always healthy. So let's back to what we are doing today. I'm trying to show you a recipe of my style of chicken kebab, which you can convert with any sort of vegetables. If you are vegetarian, like let's say you want to cook paneer, You can use the same recipe, take out this chicken, add paneer to it. Or let's say you don't eat dairy, so you can use mushrooms, you can use zucchinis, you can make a fruit chart out of it. And there are certain ways of cooking it. You can cook it in oven, just preheat your oven around 400 degree Fahrenheit. Cook it for, depending what vegetable you are using or what protein you are using, depending on that, between 10 to 20 minutes it's going to be ready. You have to check it back and forth. Or as I'm using today, a grill, you can use a grill. And nowadays air fryer is in fashion, so that's another very good option to cook in that. That's faster, use less oil. It makes you happy in not using or not making you guilty of using a lot of oil. So I'm gonna use a lime, gonna use some garam masala, gonna use some degi chili for the color. It's you can avoid it if you don't want to make it look red. You can use some black pepper or a white pepper in place of that, and you can add any sort of flavor profile you want to change. Like you can make olive oil, or sorry, not olive oil, olive flavored kebab. So you can puree some olives and add to this recipes. Let's say you want to make a basil flavor, you can puree some basil, you can use that. Or let's say you want to make a chutney chicken kebab, so you can make some coriander and mint chutney, and you can use that. So there are different variations. Come out from Indian style. Let's say you want to make a Mexican style. You want to eat like achiote flavor. So you can bring some achiote paste, add to your marination. You can make that. So there are different variations you can do with this basic recipes. So I have used here some hung yogurt. So it's nothing difficult. You having some strainers at home. Just pour some thick yogurt and put it over a bowl for an hour. And you by that you can avoid that extra liquid which gonna make your marination watery. So that's the basic purpose of that. If you're having a thick yogurt, you can avoid this step also.
And so, Manish,
And
do you recommend a specific yogurt, like Greek yogurt, or just
yes,
any
you can
regular
you
yogurt?
so the difference between Greek yogurt and the whole fat yogurt is only the milk. They use fat-free milk there. So the consistency wise, it's not gonna be very thick, and not gonna give you that kind of a texture. You can use it. You can use it. It's gonna be little. Your marination gonna be a little kind of watery. So, but it's not gonna yogurt. The main purpose of yogurt in the marination is to tenderize the protein. So for vegetarian cooking, you don't need to tenderize it. You're just using that yogurt for the flavor. You can even avoid yogurt if you don't want in your vegetarian kebab with the same recipe. You can minus it. So
Got it.
that's basically more important or integral part of. There is a question, I guess. Miss Nina want to ask some question.
You're muted, Nina Masi.
Can you please type your question in the comment section, please, ma'am? So I'm using then some ginger garlic paste. It's another, there are two reasons of using ginger garlic paste in any, kebab marination. One is definitely flavor profile. Another is to tenderize again. Third is actually to eliminate any sort of microbacteria or microorganisms in that. So let's start with the chicken. I guess we are running a little short of time. So I'm using chicken leg here, the red meat of chicken. You can again change it with the white meat of chicken if you want to be eating more healthier. So the reason why white meat is healthier than red meat is because of the protein type. That protein type having less saturated fats in that than the leg part. Otherwise, leg part is more juicier than the the white meat. So cut it into an inch and a half pieces to help it cook faster on that. You can have bigger pieces if you are cooking it in oven also. So I'm just putting it here. I previously taken out all the excess fat because chicken fat is having lot of bad cholesterol in it. So and the skin as also. So we should avoid eating that. So that is another healthy tip I want to give you guys. So this is kind of a 1.5 pound chicken here. I'm not going to use everything. I'm just going to show you with a 1/2 pound chicken recipe, which going to give you 2 to 3 skewers. If you're having more people coming for the party at your home, you can use the same recipe by increasing the quantity. So just cutting it into 1.5 inch pieces.
Manish, how long can you keep like the chicken marinated in your fridge?
So ideally, it needs to be overnight or 7 to 8 hour, marinated in the refrigerator. But if you don't have that much of time, 1 hour is, kind of minimum. It should be that way. You're giving enough time to work the spices, flavor the protein you using. Otherwise, it's gonna be kind of tough to
And
get
then
all the flavors.
what about for vegetables and for paneer?
So as I said, especially with paneer, paneer is not my favorite, kind of vegetarian protein. The reason is it's the toughest to extract any flavor inside it. So you leave it for an hour or you leave it for 8 hours, nothing gonna change in it. But yes, definitely when you making a marination, when you're using all these dry spices, when you mixing them with yogurt and oil and all, you need to give them little time to mature, or oozing out their flavors and giving it to the medium you using with them. So that way you have to give at least half an hour. So this first marination we're going to do with this to eliminate all the microorganisms in this. So we're going to use kind of, if you're using, let's say, almost a 1/2 pound chicken, then use half tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, and some black salt. If you don't have black salt, I keep white salt also here. I told you the properties of black salt, and using this, actually you going one step closer to healthy eating. So using some black salt and some Degi chili. Degi chili use more for color, less for spiciness. So it's not that spicy. So don't worry when you see a jet red color in the marinations. It's gonna scare you, but it's not gonna be that spicy. Believe me.
Yeah,
And
and
then
Manish, and yeah, so I think Manish, you bring up a good point. So even like the color comes from like, the chili powder, and we don't
uh-huh.
use any food coloring. So none of our chicken, looks like that bright red.
And then we using the juice of acid. That's gonna help in killing any bacteria if there is in the chicken, and gonna help you to increase the flavor. And now we're gonna marinate it. So ideally, it needs to be marinated at least 15 minutes in this, so that there is no chance of any sort of bacteria, infection in this. And let's keep it aside. And I'm gonna make the second marination where I'm gonna use this yogurt.
Do you recommend draining the yogurt?
I do. If especially when you're making a non-vegetarian kebab, you're using, let's say you're using fish in place of chicken, or you're using lamb in place of chicken, then it is very important to have a thick marination so that it coat it well and helps it in kind of soften up the tissues of the proteins. That's one of the reasons why Indian kebabs cook faster than Western, protein cooking or barbecue stuff. So I'm going to use again a half tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. Oh man, when I'm needing this, it's switch off. So just give me a minute.
While Manish gets the grill on. So the reason why we picked the chicken kebab to demo today, I feel that, the chicken kebab, or just like the marination of the kebab, which you can, use to marinate like any protein or vegetable, we feel is like, really versatile. And so at the restaurant, what we do is like, we provide like marinated chicken skewers and paneer skewers and shrimp skewers. And then we've seen a lot of our diners, especially during the pandemic, take our marinated meats and then use it as part of like to top a salad, or as part of a sandwich or a wrap or pizza topping. So we thought it'd be fun to share this recipe.
Yeah, so using a half tablespoon of ginger garlic paste here, and then I'm using the black salt. You can use white salt if you want. Then using more Tyagi chili, using some coriander powder, like half 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon of garam masala, and you can use here some kasuri methi also if you want to enhance more, give more kind of a smoky flavor to it. So I'm having here mustard oil. If you don't have mustard oil at home, no worries, you can use any regular oil. This gives more flavor to it. So using almost like 1.5 tablespoon. And then we're gonna mix everything.
Manish, did we just lose your video?
We've lost his video. I think
Let me check.
Can you look at your computer?
Is it back now?
Yeah, it's back.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So now you have to whisk it so that you make a very fine paste kind of a consistency. You can see. That's why you need thick yogurt. So it's kind of a paste.
Do you add any kind of starch or flour or basin to the marinade?
No, you don't need that. If you're having a thick yogurt and if you're cooking a chicken or any non-vegetarian protein. But if you're using vegetarian stuff like paneer or fruits or mushrooms, let's say, in that, and you don't have that much of kind of a tight yogurt, yes, you can use some basin and some cornstarch to kind of give a binding, because in those veggies you don't need to cook them that long. As I said, cook less, cook only for the purpose of making them edible, and you're gonna get the better taste out of it. So that now I'm gonna add my marination to this. And now, as per Indian cuisine, you should use your hands to kind of give a nice massage to it. That way, you kind of opening all the blocks of the tissues of protein in the chicken and helping the marination seeps in and make it tender and more flavorful.
Manish, so we have a question for vegetarian options. So would you recommend the same recipe with tofu? Would that work?
Oh yes, 100%. But actually, when you're making a tofu, I would suggest not to use yogurt, because using a tofu is reason you don't want to use paneer, right?
So just use all the dry spices.
Yeah, all the dry spices. You can actually add some sort of a coconut cream to it to substitute. Like in one of my cooking demos, I prepared it with the coconut cream, and believe me, it was very flavorful. So now this is ready. So minimum you have to leave it for kind of an hour if you don't have much time. But if you want to get the maximum flavor out of it, then you should give it at least 7 to 8 hours in your refrigerator. You don't need to keep it outside. So that way you can avoid it from getting into a danger zone or you know having some bacterial issue to it.
So Manish, a question
So
on like the chicken, the way you sort of like, cut the chicken and treat it. Do you need to cut the, make cuts in the chicken so that the marinade seeps in?
like because it's a boneless chicken, it's already been it's not that thick. When you make the cuts in chicken, that is when you're using a whole chicken or using a chicken with the bone, who having a very thick, kind of a thickness, like a very big pieces. So that way you have to make inclusions in that so that the marination can go inside, touches the bone. But when you're using a boneless stuff, then you don't actually need. So then I'm having some, these satay sticks. It's again optional. You don't really need to put them in skewer. It's just a way of doing it. Let's say you're having a barbecue party and drinks along with them, and you don't want to touch it more with your hands, then you can use them so that people can eat straight away from the stick. I have some like marinated, pre-marinated ready here. So you can just work 3 or 4 pieces in each, and using some oil or this pan spray, and then you can just start cooking on them.
So Manish, I'm just gonna ask a few more questions. So Hannah had 2 questions. One
Good.
was she basically saying how to make Indian food taste authentic, and so she tried making chicken tikka masala at home, but it wasn't, and which tasted quite okay, but she was trying to make it more authentic. So for chicken tikka masala, like which is basically the same chicken in a sauce, so you can follow this recipe for the chicken. And then on our website, we actually have the chicken tikka masala recipe, Hannah. So if you want to take a look at it, and like Manish also has a video. So if you want to follow along there, and I don't know, Manish, if you have other thoughts on using maybe like cooking the chicken a bit differently.
No, actually, when like this is about Indian food. You cannot just make Indian food. If you're having a list of ingredients or let's say a recipe, you have to understand the recipe a little bit. Like let's say the cooking of onion. So in tikka masala, we use onion to brown, like we make it a golden brown. We just don't only saute it. If you just sauteing the onions and after that you adding the spices and tomatoes, it's not going to give you that kind of a punch or a texture or a flavor which you actually seeking from chicken tikka masala. So it is very important to brown the onions to that perfect level and then adding the spices, because once you added any more stuff to the onions, the cooking of onion gonna stop over there, or you're gonna burn your spices if you're trying to cook more in that process. So on a medium heat, let your onions brown properly, and then adding your spices and ginger garlic paste. Give it again, kind of a 5 minutes stirring to it, so that the ginger garlic paste also gets cooked, and then adding your tomatoes to it, and then let it get cooked on a slow flame. And when you start getting that sweetness from the sauce or from the tomatoes and punginess from the onions, then you can add your cream and butter to it to finish the sauce along with kasuri methi. So I don't use a lot of spices when I make chicken tikka masala. I put very basic spices in it to so that we can taste the real taste of these vegetables we're using in it, like ginger, garlic, and tomatoes.
Got it. And so she had one more question, but so she asked like for the perfect naan recipe. So I think we could send that as a follow-up. And I want to, make sure that Nalini has time to wrap up. And I know that the chicken is being cooked here. So I don't know if you have any final words, or we can just hand over the mic to Nalini.
So we would love to see the chicken after it's cooked, and we'll all, the vegetarians on this call will go try this, with the other proteins and vegetables that you suggested. But while we're waiting for that, if you don't mind, I would like to. There's one more question about your book, the book you mentioned, Vinita, from Vinita. So I just wanted to say, I'm sorry we've run out of time. We started a few minutes late, so we're still probably on time. But it's been fascinating, Hetal and Manish. It has been really good to watch you demonstrate it so easily and so effortlessly. And, if we could all just be as calm as you are when we cook, it'll be great. This is a very good lesson for millennials on the call and in our community, because they are so afraid of Indian food. And to break it down to practical steps, I always think of my daughters. If they could, if they would be able to cook Indian food at home, they're very bold and able to experiment. So healthy cooking is something we promote as one of the key parts of Arogya World's mission. I did want to say this, for a while more, we will not have these webinars. So Hetal and Chef Manish, you have implemented for us probably our last webinar for the season, because it's becoming difficult. People are zoomed out and it's getting difficult to get attendance. We'll restart probably in the new year and with some different topics, but we have covered a lot of ground, and today has been very rich and a great discussion. And we also like all the tips and trends you covered. I do want to make two more points. We have a healthy cooking, a healthy eating formula, which we call My Thali. And Hetal and Chef Manish, I would like to send that to you just out of interest. We follow it in India. We promote it in India, both to urban women and to rural girls, teaching people what they should eat and in what quantities at every meal. So I'd like very much for you to just be aware of what we are doing. And the second is that our Arogya World fundraiser national virtual gala is on December 5th. So please join us and participate. This year, nobody is on plan. The world is not on plan. So please give generously to your nonprofits, whichever ones you support. I really believe that this year is the year to give. The world needs money. The nonprofits need money to survive. Of course, I hope that you will also join our webinar, our gala, and support us as well. So if you think the chicken is ready, we could have a look at it. Your visual.
Just give me.
You need
Sorry?
a few.
Yeah, I need almost like more 3-4 minutes.
Perfect, great. The visual in this restaurant, in your restaurant, is fabulous. Hetal, can you tell us a little bit about this arresting visual?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of like the inspiration for the design and the decor, was like the peacock bird, which is like the Indian national bird. And so, the color palette is like, the modern peacock palette. And for our sort of hero wall, we selected, he is Maharaja of Patiala, Bhupinder Singh, who was really well known for living an opulent lifestyle. And actually his grandkids live in the Bay Area and they frequent our restaurant, and they always request for the Maharaja table, which is like the table that's, right in front of this wall here. And so he was a big foodie. He had like over 100 chefs, and we thought that that would sort of be apt. And initially when we opened, like a lot of our dishes were from like the northern region, but we do focus on India as a whole, and our goal is to you know, oh, the chicken looks good, Manish, for someone who doesn't eat chicken. And so we do, you know, our focus is to bring a lot of dishes that are either cooked, you know, at homes in India or on the street and just different parts of India. So hence under like, you know, our sort of restaurant brand and name August 15, it's really apt to showcase India as a whole versus like, you know, one specific region. And we've had a lot of fun doing that over the past 3 years, and we'll continue to do so. And hopefully in a week or two, we'll be able to open the restaurant for in-dining again. And, you know, we have a really fun, exciting menu that we're looking to showcase.
Great.
So while my chicken is getting ready, let me show you one more a quick tip here. So these are looking kind of very nice pink onions. So the way of making them is very simple. They are like, if somebody knows, they are sirke wali pyaz. You know, sirka is basically vinegar. Yeah. So in India, we like I grew up eating you know, traditional vinegars from you know, jamun and all. But here we're using some distilled vinegar. So equal part of distilled vinegar and water, along with sugar and salt, and keep these onions in that for 8 to 9 hours, and you're gonna get this color. So you can use them. You can use them, you know, like for garnish a little bit. And then you can just place your, you know, nicely done chicken on
And
top.
Manish, so we had one other question, which I thought was actually a really, really good question. And especially for vegan folks, can we use like coconut powder or desiccated coconut as a tenderizer?
No,
No.
that's not a tenderizer. You want, let's say you want to use any other tenderizer. So there is, you know, the kachri, the dried cocoa. That is another tenderizer you can use, or you can use green papaya, the raw papaya.
Got it.
So you make a paste with skin of that. You can use that as a tenderizer. That these are neutral tenderizers. But let's say you want some flavor as well, and you don't mind adding a, you know, a flavored tenderizer, then you can use pineapple.
Huh.
So pineapple is a very great tenderizer in itself. All the, you know, kind of tough meats, if you want to tenderize them quick, you know, pineapple is your solution to that.
Great.
And back to this dish, I have some chaat masala. Just sprinkle some chaat masala, and here's your plate. You can add some, you know, green herbs to it, some cilantro and all. Make it beautiful the way you want. So that's all from my side.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Chef Manish and Hetal. It's not every day we get to look inside a restaurant and learn the secrets of, you know, the magic you guys serve. So thank you for demystifying it for us and teaching us exactly what to do.
So the magic is all around you, actually. It's just, you just have to figure it out.
Awesome. So there are a few more questions. We'll ask you to answer them on, you know, and we'll send the answers back to everybody. So we didn't cover all your questions. We'll make sure we do. So thank you very much for all of you for your support. And again, thank you for Hetal and Chef Manish. This was great. Really great.
Pleasure is all ours. Thank you very much.
Oh, we'll send the recipe. We'll send everything, the recording in case people missed it, to the ones who have registered. So don't worry, all of you will get the recipe today.
Thank you, Manish. And thank you, Hetal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Thanks very much.